In this video, we'll take a deep dive into the forgotten inventions of ancient civilizations. We'll explore some of the most remarkable yet underappreciated innovations that shaped societies across the ancient world, from Egypt to Greece, Mesopotamia to Rome, and beyond. These were tools and technologies that changed the way people lived, but over time, many of them have been lost to history. Let's uncover them together, one civilization at a time. Let's begin with ancient Egypt, a civilization most famous for its pyramids and pharaohs, but which also made incredible contributions to technology and everyday life. Beyond the grandeur of its monuments, Egypt's daily life relied on innovations that were surprisingly advanced for the time. One of the most critical Egyptian inventions was their mastery of water management. The Nile River, essential to Egypt's survival, was both a blessing and a challenge. To control the river's floodwaters and ensure year-round irrigation, the Egyptians invented the shaduf, a simple device consisting of a long, pivoting pole with a bucket attached. This tool allowed farmers to lift water from the Nile into their fields, increasing agricultural productivity and supporting Egypt's large population. Egyptians also pioneered the use of stone-cutting techniques. While we often marvel at the precision of the pyramids and temples, fewer people are aware of the technology behind them. Egyptians invented copper saws and drills, enabling them to carve massive stones with incredible accuracy. They also developed ramps and levers to move these stones into place, some of which weighed several tons. These engineering solutions allowed them to construct structures like the Great Pyramid of Giza, which still stands as one of the most impressive feats of human ingenuity. In addition to monumental architecture, Egypt also contributed to medicine. The ancient Egyptians developed a variety of surgical instruments that are surprisingly similar to the ones used in modern surgery. These included scalpels, forceps, and even dental tools. Their medical knowledge was recorded in texts such as the Ebers Papyrus, which contains treatments for diseases ranging from stomach ailments to broken bones. The Egyptians were pioneers in many aspects of healthcare, even practicing some early forms of surgery and dentistry. They also placed a strong emphasis on cleanliness and hygiene, a concept that was uncommon in many other parts of the ancient world. While Egypt's monuments and medicine have been well documented, one of their more overlooked contributions is in the field of cosmetics and personal care. The Egyptians created and popularized many cosmetic products, including kohl, a type of eyeliner made from galena, which they believed had protective properties. They also developed creams and oils for skincare, which were made from natural ingredients such as honey, olive oil, and herbs. Cosmetics were not just for aesthetic purposes, they were also tied to religious beliefs and social status. Men and women of all classes used these products to honor the gods, maintain health, and display wealth. Moving on to another critical aspect of Egyptian life, we must not forget their contribution to writing and record-keeping. The Egyptians were the first to develop papyrus, a form of early paper made from the papyrus plant that grew along the Nile. Papyrus was far more durable and practical than other writing materials of the time, such as clay tablets, and it allowed for the recording of religious texts, administrative documents, and even personal letters. This invention had a profound impact on Egyptian culture, enabling them to keep detailed records of their history, laws, and religious beliefs. Their writing system, hieroglyphics, also played a crucial role in this, and although it was a complex script, it allowed for a high level of detail in the recording of information. Ancient Egypt's inventions didn't stop at practical tools. They also made significant strides in leisure and entertainment. For example, board games were popular among Egyptians, with one of the oldest known games being Senet. This game, played on a grid of 30 squares, was not only a form of entertainment, but also had spiritual significance. It was believed to represent the journey of the soul through the afterlife. The board game is depicted in many tomb paintings, showing us that leisure activities were an important part of ancient Egyptian life. Next, let's move on to Mesopotamia, often referred to as the cradle of civilization. Located in the fertile plains between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers, Mesopotamia was home to some of the earliest known technological advancements. Perhaps the most significant invention from this region was the development of writing, known as cuneiform. Initially created for record-keeping purposes, cuneiform writing began on clay tablets and allowed Mesopotamians to record transactions, laws, and literature. One of the most famous pieces of literature from ancient Mesopotamia is the Epic of Gilgamesh, an epic poem that provides insight into the culture and values of the time. Mesopotamia was also the birthplace of the wheel, one of the most impactful inventions in human history. However, the wheel's initial use was not for transportation, as many might think. Instead, the earliest wheels were used in pottery making, specifically in the creation of the potter's wheel. It wasn't until later that the wheel was adapted for use in chariots and carts, revolutionizing transportation and commerce. The ability to move goods and people over long distances more efficiently was a game-changer for Mesopotamian society, allowing trade to flourish and armies to become more mobile. Another impressive Mesopotamian invention was the irrigation system, which helped transform the region's agriculture. The Mesopotamians developed an intricate network of canals and levees to control the flow of water from the rivers to their fields, allowing them to grow crops in a region that experienced both droughts and floods. This innovation in water management supported the growth of cities and allowed the population to expand. The Mesopotamian approach to agriculture was highly sophisticated, and their methods influenced later civilizations throughout the ancient world. In addition to their advancements in agriculture and transportation, the Mesopotamians also contributed significantly to mathematics and astronomy. They developed a base 60 number system, which is why we still measure time in 60-second minutes and 60-minute hours. Their observations of the stars and planets were incredibly detailed, and they created the first known astronomical charts. These charts allowed them to predict eclipses and track the movements of celestial bodies, which were closely tied to their religious beliefs. Mesopotamian priests used this knowledge to create calendars and determine the best times for planting and harvesting crops. From the fields of Mesopotamia, we now move to Greece, where the foundation for much of Western science and philosophy was laid. Greek inventors were responsible for some of the most remarkable forgotten inventions of the ancient world. One of the most famous, yet still mysterious, is the Antikythera mechanism, an ancient analog computer used to predict astronomical positions and eclipses for calendrical and astrological purposes. Discovered in a shipwreck off the coast of Antikythera in the early 20th century, this complex device, composed of dozens of gears, is an astounding example of Greek mechanical engineering. The fact that it was built in the 2nd century BCE and was able to track celestial events with such accuracy remains one of the great marvels of ancient technology. Beyond mechanical devices, the Greeks also made important advances in medicine, particularly in the area of anatomy. Greek physicians like Hippocrates and Galen laid the groundwork for modern medicine. Hippocrates, often referred to as the father of medicine, is famous for the Hippocratic Oath, which remains a key ethical guideline in medicine today. The Greeks were among the first to advocate for the idea that diseases were caused by natural factors, rather than being punishments from the gods. This shift in thinking was revolutionary and helped to advance the study of human biology and treatments for illness. Greek culture was also deeply connected to the arts and leisure. One of the forgotten inventions from ancient Greece is their development of automata, mechanical devices that could perform simple tasks. These early robots were created by engineers like Hero of Alexandria, who invented devices that could be programmed to pour wine or open doors automatically. Though these inventions were mostly used for entertainment, they demonstrated a deep understanding of mechanics and engineering that would influence later generations of inventors. After exploring the impressive achievements of Egypt, Mesopotamia, and Greece, we now turn our attention to ancient Rome, a civilization known not only for its military conquests, but also for its practical innovations that transformed daily life and infrastructure. While Rome's monumental architecture, such as the Colosseum and the Pantheon, still captures the public imagination, many of the most impactful Roman inventions were those that served practical purposes, influencing the way cities were built and how people lived. One of Rome's most impressive engineering feats was their aqueducts, a system of channels and bridges designed to bring fresh water from distant sources into cities and towns. The aqueducts allowed the Romans to support large urban populations and provided a reliable source of water for drinking, bathing, and agriculture. Some aqueducts, like the Aqua Claudia, stretched for miles, and their construction required advanced knowledge of hydraulics and engineering. The use of gravity to transport water over such long distances is a testament to Roman ingenuity. Many of these aqueducts were so well built that parts of them are still in use today. In addition to aqueducts, the Romans also developed an advanced system of roads that connected their vast empire. The saying, "all roads lead to Rome," speaks to the extent of this network, which spanned thousands of miles and linked distant provinces with the capital. Roman roads were constructed with multiple layers of materials to ensure durability, allowing for efficient travel and trade across the empire. These roads were also crucial for the movement of Roman legions, enabling the military to maintain control over such a large territory. The Roman road system became the backbone of the empire's communication and commerce, and its influence can still be seen in modern infrastructure. Rome also excelled in public health and sanitation, a field where their innovations were far ahead of their time. The Cloaca Maxima, one of the world's earliest sewage systems, was constructed in Rome to drain waste and water from the city into the Tiber River. This system of underground tunnels and drainage channels helped to prevent the spread of disease by removing sewage from densely populated urban areas. In addition to the Cloaca Maxima, the Romans built public baths, which were not only places for washing but also centers of social activity. The therma, or public baths, were supplied with water from the aqueducts and heated by a system known as the hypocaust, which circulated hot air beneath the floors to warm the rooms. This early form of central heating was an innovation that allowed for comfort and luxury in Roman cities. Rome's contribution to architecture and construction was another area of profound innovation. One of the most significant Roman inventions was the development of concrete, a versatile building material made from a mixture of volcanic ash, lime, and water. Roman concrete was used to build everything from aqueducts and roads to the walls of the Colosseum. Its strength and durability made it possible to construct massive structures that have withstood the test of time. The use of concrete allowed the Romans to build larger and more complex buildings than ever before, including the iconic Pantheon, which features the world's largest unreinforced concrete dome. The Pantheon's dome remains an architectural marvel and stands as a symbol of Roman engineering brilliance. Aside from these monumental works, Rome was also a pioneer in legal systems. Roman law, much of which is still used as the foundation for legal systems in many modern countries, introduced the concept of a written code of laws that applied to all citizens, regardless of status. The 12 Tables, written in the 5th century BCE, was Rome's first attempt to create a legal system that was transparent and accessible to all. This codification of laws helped to ensure justice and equality before the law, and it formed the basis for legal frameworks in much of Europe and the Western world. As we move away from Rome, let's now journey to ancient China, a civilization known for its profound influence on technology, philosophy, and science. One of the most significant inventions to come out of ancient China was paper. Invented during the Han Dynasty around 105 CE by Kai Lun, paper revolutionized communication, allowing for the recording of texts, literature, and administrative documents in a way that was much more efficient and durable than previous methods like bamboo strips or silk. Paper was not only easier to produce but also more portable and lightweight, making it ideal for spreading information across vast distances. The invention of paper paved the way for the development of printing technology, which would later flourish during the Tang and Song dynasties. Another game-changing Chinese invention was gunpowder, first discovered by alchemists during the Tang dynasty in the 9th century. Originally used for medicinal purposes and as a means to prolong life, gunpowder soon found its way into military applications, leading to the development of fireworks, bombs, and primitive firearms. By the Song dynasty, gunpowder had become a crucial component of Chinese warfare. with the invention of rockets and explosive shells. Gunpowder would eventually spread to the rest of the world, dramatically altering the course of global warfare and conflict. One of the most remarkable yet lesser-known Chinese inventions was the seismograph, designed to detect earthquakes. Invented by Zhang Heng during the Han Dynasty, this early seismograph was an elegant bronze device that could detect tremors and indicate the direction of the earthquake's epicenter. This invention demonstrated the advanced understanding that ancient Chinese scientists had of natural phenomena and their commitment to disaster preparedness. While modern seismology has developed far beyond Zhang Heng's device, it remains a testament to the ingenuity of early Chinese science. China was also at the forefront of maritime technology, developing the first magnetic compass during the Han Dynasty. Initially used for divination, the compass eventually became a critical tool for navigation. By the Song Dynasty, Chinese sailors were using the compass to navigate long-distance sea voyages, enabling them to explore and trade with distant lands. This invention not only revolutionized maritime exploration, but also helped facilitate the growth of China's vast trade networks across the Indian Ocean and beyond. Another key invention from China that has had a lasting impact on the world is silk production. The process of producing silk from the cocoons of silkworms was perfected during the Shang Dynasty, and the material quickly became a highly prized commodity, both within China and abroad. The Silk Road, a vast trade network that stretched from China to the Mediterranean, was named after this valuable product. Silk became one of China's most important exports, and its production required a deep understanding of biology and textile manufacturing. The development of silk weaving techniques, along with the creation of complex looms, allowed Chinese artisans to produce intricate designs and luxurious fabrics that were highly sought after in other parts of the world. After China, let's explore the incredible achievements of the Indus Valley Civilization in South Asia. Flourishing around 2500 BCE in what is now modern-day Pakistan and India, the Indus Valley Civilization is often overlooked compared to its contemporaries in Egypt and Mesopotamia, yet it made some extraordinary advancements in urban planning and technology. One of the most striking aspects of the Indus Valley cities, such as Mohenjo-Daro and Harappa, was their advanced system of sanitation and drainage. These cities were meticulously planned, with streets laid out in grid patterns and houses equipped with their own wells and bathrooms. The drainage system was particularly sophisticated, with covered sewers that carried waste away from the residential areas, an innovation that wouldn't be seen in many parts of the world until much later. Events, which were often tied to religious ceremonies. The Maya observatories, such as the one at Chichen Itza, were used to track these movements, and their priests interpreted them as divine messages that influenced decisions related to agriculture, warfare, and leadership. The level of astronomical knowledge possessed by the Maya rivaled that of ancient civilizations like Greece and Mesopotamia, yet it is often overlooked in discussions of ancient science. In addition to their advancements in astronomy, the Maya also made significant contributions to mathematics. They were among the first civilizations to develop the concept of zero as a placeholder and a mathematical value, which greatly enhanced their ability to perform complex calculations. The Maya used a vigesimal system, base 20, unlike the base 10 system we use today, and their mathematical prowess was reflected in their ability to construct precise architectural structures, plan city layouts, and create detailed calendars. The Maya also demonstrated remarkable skill in hydraulic engineering. They built reservoirs, canals, and cisterns to store and manage water in the often harsh, drought-prone environment of the Yucatan Peninsula. These water management systems were vital for sustaining large urban populations, especially in regions where natural water sources were scarce. The reservoirs they created, such as those found at the ancient city of Tikal, helped ensure a reliable water supply during the dry season, showcasing their ingenuity in adapting to their environment. Moving away from Mesoamerica, we journey to Persia, where the Achaemenid Empire thrived from 550 to 330 BCE. The Persians are renowned for their architectural and administrative achievements, but they also made significant strides in infrastructure and water management. One of their most notable contributions is the development of the Qanat system, an underground network of tunnels designed to transport water from mountain aquifers to arid regions. Qanats allowed Persian farmers to irrigate their crops and provided a steady water supply to cities and towns in areas where surface water was scarce. This innovation was crucial for the survival and growth of the Persian Empire, especially in the dry regions of Iran, and the system was so effective that it is still in use in some parts of the Middle East today. Another forgotten Persian invention was their development of postal systems. Under the rule of Darius I, the Persians established the Royal Road, a vast network of roads that span the empire from Sardis in the west to Susa in the east. Along this road, the Persians created a sophisticated postal service with relay stations placed at regular intervals. Couriers would carry messages between these stations, allowing information to travel quickly across the vast empire. This system of communication was essential for maintaining control over such a large territory and facilitated trade and governance. The Persian postal system is often considered one of the earliest examples of organized long-distance communication, and it influenced later civilizations, including the Roman Empire. In addition to infrastructure, the Persians were also pioneers in medicine and surgery. Persian physicians, influenced by earlier Egyptian and Greek knowledge, made significant advancements in the field of medicine. One of the most famous Persian physicians was Avicenna, whose book, The Canon of Medicine, was used as a medical reference in both the Islamic world and Europe for centuries. Persian doctors practiced various surgical techniques, including the removal of cataracts, and used herbal remedies to treat a wide range of illnesses. Persian medical knowledge was highly regarded, and their contributions to the field of healthcare have had a lasting impact on the development of medicine. Now, let's shift to the Inca Empire, which dominated the Andes region of South America from the early 13th century until the Spanish conquest in the 16th century. The Inca are often remembered for their impressive stonework and massive cities, like Machu Picchu, but their forgotten contributions to agriculture and engineering are just as remarkable. One of the most important Inca innovations was the creation of terraced farming systems. The rugged Andean terrain posed significant challenges for agriculture, but the Inca developed terraces, known as andenes, to create flat areas where crops could be grown. These terraces were built into the mountainsides and were not only effective in preventing soil erosion, but also in managing water flow, as they allowed for the even distribution of water across multiple levels. The Inca also created sophisticated irrigation systems to supply their crops with water. In regions where rainfall was inconsistent, they constructed networks of canals, aqueducts, and cisterns to channel water from rivers and lakes to their fields. This innovation allowed the Inca to grow a variety of crops, including maize, potatoes, and quinoa, in areas that would have otherwise been inhospitable for farming. Their ability to manage water and optimize agricultural production was a key factor in the success of their empire, which supported a population of millions despite the challenging environment of the Andes. In addition to agriculture, the Inca developed an impressive system of roads and bridges that connected their vast empire. The Inca road system spanned over 25,000 miles and included both paved roads and suspension bridges made from natural fibers. These roads allowed for efficient communication, military movement, and trade between distant parts of the empire. The suspension bridges, in particular, were a remarkable engineering achievement, allowing the Inca to cross the deep ravines and rivers that crisscrossed the Andes. The bridges were made from woven grass ropes and were strong enough to support the passage of people and animals. The Inca road system played a crucial role in unifying the empire and maintaining control over such a vast and diverse territory. Another fascinating but often overlooked aspect of Inca culture was their system of record-keeping, known as quipu. The Inca did not develop a written language like many other ancient civilizations, but they used quipu, a system of knotted cords to keep track of numerical information. Each quipu consisted of multiple strings with knots tied at various intervals, and the position and number of knots represented different values. Quipu were used for everything from recording census data to keeping track of agricultural production and taxes. This system of record-keeping was remarkably effective and allowed the Inca to manage their complex economy and vast population without the need for written documents. Finally, we turn to ancient Japan, where forgotten innovations from the early periods of Japanese civilization have had a lasting influence on their culture and technology. One of the key innovations from early Japan was the development of irrigation systems during the Yayoi period, 300 BCE to 300 CE. The Yayoi people introduced rice farming to Japan, and with it came the need for efficient irrigation. They built paddies with controlled flooding systems that allowed them to grow rice in the fertile plains. This shift to agriculture marked a significant change in Japanese society, moving from a hunter-gatherer economy to one based on farming and settled communities. Rice cultivation became the backbone of Japan's economy and culture, and the innovations in irrigation developed during this period laid the foundation for Japan's agricultural success. Another significant but often forgotten Japanese innovation was the development of metallurgy during the Kofun period, 300 to 538 CE. The early Japanese learned iron smelting techniques from Korea and China, which led to the production of iron tools and weapons. These tools revolutionized Japanese agriculture and warfare, allowing for more efficient farming and more powerful armies. The mastery of ironworking was a turning point in Japanese history, as it allowed the early Japanese states to grow in power and influence. Japan also made important advances in pottery and ceramics. The Jomon period, 14,000 to 300 BCE, saw the creation of some of the world's earliest pottery, characterized by intricate rope-like patterns pressed into the clay. The pottery of this period was used for cooking, storage, and ceremonial purposes. Later, during the Heian period, 794 to 1185 CE, Japanese artisans perfected the art of glazed ceramics, producing beautiful, high-quality pottery that was highly prized throughout East Asia. The techniques developed by ancient Japanese potters influenced the evolution of Japanese art and craftsmanship for centuries. Next, let's explore ancient Greece again, but this time with an emphasis on its philosophical and scientific contributions, which often get overshadowed by its architectural marvels and political systems. One of the most significant forgotten inventions from Greece is their early development of mechanical devices. A key figure in this domain was Hero of Alexandria, an engineer and mathematician who lived in the 1st century AD. Hero is best known for his invention of the aeolipile, considered to be the first steam-powered device. This machine, sometimes referred to as the hero's engine, consisted of a sphere mounted on a boiler. When heated, steam would escape from 2 nozzles, causing the sphere to spin. While it was primarily used for entertainment purposes, the aeolipile represents the earliest known use of steam power, an idea that would not be fully realized until the Industrial Revolution. Hero also developed a number of other mechanical inventions that demonstrated the Greeks' advanced understanding of engineering. These included automated doors, programmable automata that could perform tasks like pouring wine, and early versions of vending machines that dispensed holy water when a coin was inserted. These devices show that the Greeks were experimenting with concepts that wouldn't become mainstream until much later in history, such as automation and the use of mechanical forces to reduce human labor. Beyond engineering, Greece's contributions to medicine are also often overlooked. While figures like Hippocrates are well known, ancient Greek medicine extended far beyond the famous Hippocratic Oath. Greek physicians were pioneers in surgical tools and techniques, particularly in the treatment of trauma injuries sustained in battle. The Greeks developed specialized instruments like bone drills and forceps, which allowed them to perform relatively sophisticated surgeries for the time. The Greeks also introduced the use of opium and mandrake as anesthetics, making surgery less painful and increasing the chances of patient survival. The Greek approach to medicine was based on a combination of empirical observation and philosophy, where physicians studied the body to understand the underlying causes of illness. This rational approach to medicine laid the groundwork for modern medical science, but many of the specifics, such as surgical instruments and the use of anesthesia, tend to be forgotten in the broader narrative of Greek achievements. Moving on from Greece, let's delve into the remarkable contributions of the Etruscans, a civilization that predated and significantly influenced the Romans. While the Etruscans are often overshadowed by their Roman successors, their innovations in architecture, metallurgy, and urban planning were foundational to the development of Roman civilization. One of their most significant contributions was their expertise in hydraulic engineering. The Etruscans were among the first to develop advanced systems for draining marshes and redirecting rivers, which allowed them to reclaim fertile land for agriculture and expand their cities. These early water management techniques were later adopted and refined by the Romans, whose famous aqueducts owe much to Etruscan innovation. In addition to water management, the Etruscans were also masters of metalworking. They were particularly skilled in bronze and iron smelting, and Etruscan metalworkers produced high-quality weapons, tools, and decorative items that were traded throughout the Mediterranean. Their bronze mirrors, in particular, were highly prized and are considered some of the finest examples of ancient craftsmanship. The Etruscans also introduced arches in their architecture, a technique that would later be perfected by the Romans and become a hallmark of Roman engineering. Another fascinating, though often overlooked, aspect of Etruscan culture was their development of religious rituals and practices, many of which were later absorbed by the Romans. The Etruscans believed in divination and developed complex systems for interpreting the will of the gods through signs and omens. One of their most famous practices was haruspicy, the art of interpreting the entrails of sacrificed animals to predict future events. While this practice might seem strange today, it was taken very seriously in Etruscan and later Roman society, where important political and military decisions were often made based on these readings. Now, let's move over to ancient Egypt's Nubian neighbors in Kush. The Kingdom of Kush, located to the south of Egypt in what is now Sudan, was a powerful and advanced civilization that often rivaled its more famous northern neighbor. One of the most remarkable but underappreciated contributions of the Kushites was their expertise in iron smelting. Around 1000 BCE, the city of Meroe, the capital of the Kingdom of Kush, became one of the leading centers of iron production in the ancient world. The abundance of iron ore in the region, combined with the Kushites' mastery of smelting techniques, allowed them to produce large quantities of iron weapons and tools. This iron production contributed to the strength of the Kushite army and played a key role in the kingdom's economic power, as iron goods were highly sought after for trade. The Kushites were also known for their unique pyramids, which were smaller but steeper than the famous pyramids of Egypt. Over 200 pyramids were built in Kush, primarily as tombs for their kings and queens. The pyramid-building tradition of Kush was a continuation of the ancient Egyptian practice, but the Kushites added their own distinct architectural style, blending Egyptian influences with their local traditions. These pyramids are often overshadowed by their more famous Egyptian counterparts, but they stand as a testament to the enduring legacy of this powerful African civilization. Additionally, the Kingdom of Kush was a leader in international trade, controlling key trade routes between sub-Saharan Africa and the Mediterranean world. The Kushites traded gold, ivory, ebony, and exotic animals with Egypt, the Middle East, and even as far away as Greece and Rome. Their wealth and strategic location made Kush a major player in the politics and economics of the ancient world, though their contributions are often forgotten in the shadow of their Egyptian counterparts. Now let's journey to the Hittites, an ancient Anatolian civilization that ruled over much of modern-day Turkey and northern Syria during the 2nd millennium BCE. The Hittites are often overlooked in discussions of ancient history, but they made several significant contributions to technology and warfare. One of their most important innovations was the development of ironworking, which gave them a technological edge over their rivals. While bronze was still the primary metal used for weapons and tools during much of the Bronze Age, the Hittites were among the first to master the smelting of iron, which is stronger and more durable than bronze. This allowed the Hittites to equip their armies with superior iron weapons, contributing to their military dominance in the region. In addition to ironworking, the Hittites also made advances in diplomacy and international relations. One of their greatest achievements was the creation of the Treaty of Kadesh in 1259 BCE, a peace agreement between the Hittites and the Egyptians following the Battle of Kadesh. This treaty, which was signed by the Hittite king Hattusili III and the Egyptian pharaoh Ramses II, is one of the oldest known international peace treaties and is considered a landmark in the history of diplomacy. The fact that this agreement was reached after a long and brutal conflict highlights the Hittites' skill in diplomacy and their desire for peaceful relations with their neighbors. Another often forgotten contribution of the Hittites was their development of chariot warfare. The Hittites are credited with refining the use of the war chariot, which became a key component of their military strategy. Hittite chariots were lighter and more maneuverable than those used by their rivals, giving them an advantage in battle. The Hittites used their chariots to great effect in numerous military campaigns, helping them to expand their empire and secure their dominance over much of the Near East. As we move from the Hittites to another forgotten civilization, let's explore the Minoans of ancient Crete. The Minoan civilization, which flourished from around 2600 to 1400 BCE, is best known for its magnificent palaces and vibrant artwork. But the Minoans were also pioneers in urban planning and engineering. One of their most impressive achievements was the construction of the Palace of Knossos, a sprawling complex that featured advanced plumbing and drainage systems. The Minoans built aqueducts and clay pipes to bring fresh water into the palace, and installed drains to remove wastewater, a level of sophistication not seen in many parts of the world until much later. The plumbing system at Knossos was so advanced that it included flushable toilets, a remarkable innovation for the time. The Minoans were also leaders in maritime technology. As a seafaring people, they developed advanced ships that allowed them to dominate trade in the Mediterranean. The Minoans built large, multi-tiered ships capable of carrying significant cargo, including pottery, textiles, and foodstuffs, which they traded with Egypt, the Near East, and the Aegean Islands. Their mastery of shipbuilding and navigation contributed to the economic prosperity of Crete and helped establish the Minoans as one of the leading maritime powers of the ancient world. Let's continue our exploration by diving into the remarkable contributions of the Phoenicians, a seafaring civilization that flourished in the eastern Mediterranean from around 1500 to 300 BCE. The Phoenicians are perhaps best known for their role as maritime traders and for their development of the alphabet, which would later form the basis of the Greek and Latin alphabets. The Phoenician alphabet was a simplified writing system consisting of 22 characters, all representing consonants. It allowed for more efficient record-keeping and communication, especially in the context of trade. Unlike complex writing systems such as Egyptian hieroglyphics or Mesopotamian cuneiform, the Phoenician alphabet was easy to learn and adaptable, making it ideal for use by merchants and traders across the Mediterranean. This system of writing spread rapidly through trade routes and had a lasting influence on the development of modern alphabets, making it one of the Phoenicians' most significant legacies. Beyond their contributions to writing, the Phoenicians were masters of shipbuilding and navigation. Their expertise in these areas allowed them to become the dominant maritime traders of the ancient world. Phoenician ships were highly advanced for their time, featuring deep keels for stability in rough seas and multiple decks for storing cargo. They were also among the first to use caulking, a technique of sealing the seams of ships with materials like tar and pitch to make them watertight. This innovation allowed Phoenician ships to travel farther and stay at sea for longer periods, opening up trade routes across the Mediterranean and beyond. In addition to their technological advancements in navigation, the Phoenicians are credited with establishing some of the earliest trading colonies, including the famous city of Carthage in North Africa. These colonies were strategically placed along important trade routes, allowing the Phoenicians to control the flow of goods between Europe, Africa, and the Middle East. Carthage, in particular, would go on to become one of the most powerful cities in the ancient world, rivaling even Rome at the height of its power. The Phoenicians were also innovators in the production of luxury goods, particularly their famous purple dye, known as Tyrian purple. This dye, made from the murex sea snail, was incredibly expensive to produce and was highly sought after by the elites of ancient societies, including kings and emperors. Tyrian purple became a symbol of wealth and power, and its production was a closely guarded secret in Phoenician cities like Tyre and Sidon. The process of extracting the dye was labor-intensive, requiring thousands of snails to produce just a small amount of pigment, which is why it was reserved for royalty and high-ranking officials. The Phoenicians' mastery of this dye production helped solidify their reputation as skilled artisans and traders. Moving on from the Phoenicians, let's explore the Assyrian Empire, which rose to power in Mesopotamia between 900 and 600 BCE. While the Assyrians are often remembered for their military might and brutal tactics in warfare, they were also pioneers in military technology and administration. One of their most important innovations was the development of siege warfare techniques. The Assyrians were among the first to use battering rams, siege towers, and sappers to break through the walls of fortified cities. These tactics were highly effective and allowed the Assyrian army to conquer much of the Near East, including the powerful city-states of Babylon and Jerusalem. In addition to their military innovations, the Assyrians were also adept at logistics and communication. They established one of the first known postal systems, with a network of roads and relay stations that allowed messages to be sent quickly across the empire. This system enabled the Assyrian king to maintain control over distant provinces by staying informed about developments in different parts of the empire. The Assyrians also developed an early version of road paving, which made it easier for their armies to travel quickly across the empire, ensuring that they could respond to threats or rebellions in a timely manner. Another significant but often overlooked achievement of the Assyrians was their contribution to urban planning. The Assyrian capital of Nineveh, located on the banks of the Tigris River, was one of the largest cities in the ancient world at its peak. The city featured wide streets, canals, aqueducts, and grand palaces, as well as some of the earliest examples of zoning laws, which regulated how different areas of the city could be used. Nineveh was also home to the famous library of Ashurbanipal, which contained thousands of clay tablets inscribed with cuneiform texts. This library was one of the most extensive collections of knowledge in the ancient world, preserving important works on astronomy, medicine, history, and literature, including the Epic of Gilgamesh. From Mesopotamia, we now travel to ancient India during the Gupta Empire, which spanned from approximately 320 to 550 CE. Known as the Golden Age of India, this period saw tremendous advancements in science, mathematics, astronomy, and medicine. One of the most significant forgotten contributions of the Gupta period was the invention of the decimal system and the concept of zero. Indian mathematicians, such as Aryabhata, developed a number system based on the powers of 10, which included the concept of zero as both a placeholder and a numeral in its own right. This system allowed for more complex calculations and laid the foundation for modern arithmetic and algebra. The Gupta decimal system, along with the use of zero, eventually spread to the Islamic world and from there to Europe, profoundly shaping the development of mathematics globally. Another remarkable contribution from the Gupta period was in the field of astronomy. Aryabhata and other Indian astronomers made significant advances in understanding the motions of the planets and the nature of eclipses. Aryabhata's work, the Aryabhatiya, presented calculations of the Earth's circumference and the idea that the Earth rotates on its axis, both of which were revolutionary concepts at the time. His calculations were remarkably accurate for the era and demonstrated the high level of scientific knowledge that existed in ancient India. In medicine, the Gupta Empire saw the rise of Ayurvedic practices, which are still influential in India today. Ancient Indian physicians like Sushruta wrote detailed medical texts such as the Sushruta Samhita, which covered topics ranging from surgery to the treatment of diseases. The Sushruta Samhita is one of the earliest texts to describe cataract surgery and other advanced surgical procedures, including the use of herbal anesthetics and antiseptics. These contributions to medical science show that ancient Indian physicians had a sophisticated understanding of anatomy, surgery, and medicinal plants, which rivaled and in some cases surpassed the medical knowledge of their contemporaries in the West. As we leave the Gupta Empire, we move towards ancient West Africa, where the Kingdom of Mali flourished during the 13th and 14th centuries. While often remembered for its wealth, particularly in gold, Mali was also a center of learning and innovation, particularly in the city of Timbuktu. Timbuktu became a hub of Islamic scholarship, where scholars from across the Muslim world gathered to study and exchange ideas. The city housed universities and libraries that contained thousands of manuscripts on subjects ranging from theology and law to medicine and mathematics. The scholars of Timbuktu made significant contributions to astronomy and geography, and their knowledge was highly regarded across the Islamic world. In addition to their intellectual achievements, the people of the Mali Empire were pioneers in agriculture and irrigation. They developed techniques for cultivating crops such as rice, millet, and sorghum in the arid environment of the Sahel region. They also created flood irrigation systems that allowed them to grow crops along the banks of the Niger River during the dry season. These agricultural innovations helped sustain the empire's population and contributed to its economic prosperity. Let's explore ancient Korea, particularly during the Goryeo dynasty, 918 to 1392 CCE. One of Korea's most significant forgotten contributions to technology was the invention of movable type printing, which predates the use of movable type in Europe by several centuries. The Koreans were the first to cast movable metal type, which allowed for the mass production of printed texts. This technology was used to print Buddhist scriptures, Confucian texts, and government documents, contributing to the spread of knowledge and literacy in Korea. The development of movable type printing in Korea had a profound impact on East Asian intellectual life, and it laid the groundwork for the later use of printing technology in Europe. Another remarkable Korean innovation was the creation of Celadon pottery, known for its delicate green glaze and intricate designs. Celadon pottery became one of Korea's most famous exports, prized by collectors and connoisseurs across China and Japan. The techniques developed by Korean potters during the Goryeo dynasty represented a high point in ceramic craftsmanship and contributed to the global appreciation of Korean art. Next, let's explore ancient Persia under the Sasanian Empire, 224 to 651 CE. This empire, which succeeded the Parthian Empire and preceded the Islamic Khalifates, is often overshadowed in discussions of ancient Persia, but its innovations in science, engineering, and culture were groundbreaking. One of the most significant but forgotten contributions from the Sasanian period was in the field of medicine. The Academy of Gandhashapur, founded in the Sasanian Empire, was one of the world's earliest medical schools and intellectual centers. It became a melting pot of knowledge where Persian, Indian, Greek, and Roman scholars came together to study and advance various disciplines, particularly medicine. The physicians of Gandhashapur developed advanced surgical techniques and treatments, many of which were recorded in medical texts that would later be translated into Arabic and Latin. Their knowledge of herbal medicine was extensive, and they made significant strides in understanding human anatomy and disease. The Academy of Gandhashapur played a crucial role in preserving and transmitting ancient knowledge during a time when much of Europe was in the early medieval period, setting the stage for the later Islamic Golden Age. Another remarkable achievement of the Sasanian Empire was their mastery of hydraulic engineering. The Sasanians built a number of large dams, canals, and irrigation systems that were used to control water in the arid regions of Persia. One of the most famous examples is the Bandit Kaisar, a large bridge dam built on the Karen River near the city of Shushtar. This structure combined elements of a bridge and a dam, allowing the Sasanians to regulate water flow while also facilitating transportation. The dam helped to irrigate the surrounding farmland, contributing to agricultural productivity in the region. The Sasanians were also pioneers in architecture and urban planning. Their capital, Ctesiphon, was one of the largest cities in the world at its height, featuring grand palaces and extensive urban infrastructure. One of the most famous architectural achievements of the Sasanian Empire is the Tak Kasra, the Great Arch of Ctesiphon, which remains the largest single-span brick arch in the world. This monumental structure was part of a palace complex and demonstrated the Sasanians' advanced knowledge of engineering and construction. Moving east, let's dive into the achievements of ancient Cambodia during the height of the Khmer Empire, 802 to 1431 CE, particularly its capital at Angkor. While Angkor Wat is well known for its architectural beauty, the Khmer people were also incredibly advanced in water management. The city of Angkor was supported by a vast and complex system of canals, reservoirs, known as barais, and moats designed to store and control water from seasonal monsoons. This system allowed the Khmer to regulate water flow and ensure a stable supply for both agriculture and daily use, even during the dry season. The Khmer's sophisticated irrigation network helped them grow rice on a massive scale, which in turn supported the empire's large population. The West Baray, one of the largest man-made reservoirs in the world, stretched over 16 square kilometers and served as both a practical and symbolic element of Khmer infrastructure. The ability to control water was a major factor in the prosperity and longevity of the Khmer Empire, and it showcases their expertise in hydraulic engineering. The Khmer were also masters of stone carving and temple architecture. Angkor Wat, the largest religious monument in the world, is the most famous example of their architectural prowess, but the Khmer also built many other impressive temples, such as Bayan and Ta Prohm, which are adorned with intricate carvings and bas-reliefs that depict scenes from Hindu mythology, warfare, and daily life. The sheer scale and precision of these constructions, often completed without the use of mortar, reveal a deep understanding of engineering and craftsmanship that is often underappreciated in discussions of world architecture. Heading to the Byzantine Empire, the eastern continuation of the Roman Empire, we find a treasure trove of forgotten innovations in military technology, architecture, and law. One of the most famous yet underappreciated Byzantine inventions was Greek fire, a mysterious incendiary weapon used primarily in naval warfare. Greek fire was a liquid substance that could be sprayed onto enemy ships, where it would ignite and continue to burn even on water. The exact formula for Greek fire remains unknown, as it was a closely guarded state secret, but it played a crucial role in defending the Byzantine Empire from invasions, particularly during the Arab-Byzantine Wars. Greek fire was so effective that it helped the Byzantines repel numerous attacks on Constantinople, allowing the empire to survive for centuries. In addition to Greek fire, the Byzantines made significant advances in medicine. The Byzantine hospital system, particularly in Constantinople, was remarkably advanced for its time. Byzantine hospitals provided free care to the poor and were staffed by trained physicians who performed surgeries, administered treatments, and dispensed medicines. These hospitals were often attached to monasteries where religious and medical knowledge intertwined. The Byzantine emphasis on public health, combined with their access to medical texts from ancient Greece, Rome, and the Islamic world, made their healthcare system one of the most advanced in medieval Europe and the Mediterranean. The Byzantines also played a key role in preserving Roman law through the Corpus Juris Civilis, or Code of Justinian. This legal code, compiled under the Byzantine Emperor Justinian I in the 6th century CE, became the foundation for much of Western legal tradition. The Code of Justinian systematized centuries of Roman laws and legal opinions into a coherent and accessible body of law, which influenced the development of legal systems in Europe and the Islamic world. The principles enshrined in this legal code, particularly those related to civil rights, property law, and justice, had a profound and lasting impact on the governance of states and empires. Let's now turn to the Mongol Empire under the leadership of Genghis Khan and his successors. The Mongols are often remembered for their conquests and the vast size of their empire, but they were also innovators in military strategy, communication, and governance. One of the most important Mongol innovations was their development of a highly effective system of mounted archery. Mongol warriors were trained from a young age to ride horses and shoot arrows with incredible accuracy, even while galloping at high speeds. This combination of mobility and firepower made the Mongol army one of the most formidable in history, allowing them to defeat larger and better equipped armies across Asia and Europe. In addition to their military prowess, the Mongols established one of the world's earliest postal relay systems, known as the Yam. This network of relay stations was spread across the vast Mongol Empire and allowed messengers to travel quickly by horse from one station to the next, where fresh horses and provisions awaited. The Yam system greatly improved communication across the empire, enabling the Mongol leadership to stay informed about distant territories and maintain control over their expansive domain. The Mongols were also notable for their policy of religious tolerance. While Genghis Khan and his successors were primarily shamanists, they welcomed and protected people of many different faiths within their empire, including Buddhists, Muslims, Christians, and Taoists. This policy of tolerance helped maintain peace in the multi-ethnic, multi-religious Mongol Empire, and it facilitated the exchange of ideas, goods, and technologies across the empire's extensive trade routes, including the Silk Road. The Mongols' promotion of trade and their protection of merchants helped usher in a period of economic prosperity and cultural exchange known as the Pax Mongolica. As we shift our focus to the Aztecs of Mesoamerica, we find a society that was incredibly advanced in agriculture, architecture, and urban planning. One of the most important yet often forgotten Aztec innovations was their development of chinampas, also known as floating gardens. Chinampas were artificial islands created by weaving reeds and other plant materials together to form a base, which was then anchored to the lakebed and covered with soil. These floating gardens were used to grow crops such as maize, beans, and squash in the shallow lakes surrounding the Aztec capital of Tenochtitlan. Chinampas were highly productive, allowing the Aztecs to cultivate multiple crops per year and support the large population of their capital city. In addition to their agricultural innovations, the Aztecs were skilled engineers and architects. The city of Tenochtitlan, built on an island in the middle of Lake Texcoco, was connected to the mainland by a series of causeways and bridges. The city featured a sophisticated system of aqueducts that brought fresh water from the surrounding mountains to the urban population. The Aztecs also built impressive pyramids and temples, such as the Templo Mayor, which was the center of their religious and political life. The architecture of Tenochtitlan was not only functional, but also deeply symbolic, reflecting the Aztecs' cosmological beliefs and their reverence for the gods. The Aztecs were also pioneers in medicine and herbal remedies. Aztec physicians used a wide variety of medicinal plants to treat illnesses and injuries, and they practiced surgery for wounds and fractures. The Aztecs had a deep understanding of the natural world and believed that maintaining balance within the body and between individuals and nature was key to health. Many of their medicinal practices were recorded in codices, such as the Florentine Codex, which details various Aztec treatments for different ailments. These texts show that the Aztecs had a sophisticated medical system that combined practical treatments with spiritual elements, as they believed that illness was often caused by imbalances between the physical and spiritual worlds. Shifting now to ancient Polynesia, we find a civilization renowned for its extraordinary navigation techniques. Long before the invention of modern navigational tools, Polynesians were traversing vast expanses of the Pacific Ocean, traveling thousands of miles between islands in double-hulled canoes. These navigators used an incredible understanding of the stars, wind patterns, ocean currents, and even the behavior of seabirds to find their way across open water. One of the most impressive navigational techniques they developed was wayfinding, a method of orientation that required deep observational skills and passed down knowledge. Polynesian wayfinders could read the waves, understanding how different patterns indicated the presence of land beyond the horizon. In addition to their navigational prowess, Polynesians were expert boat builders. Their double-hulled canoes were both stable and fast, allowing for long voyages across the open ocean. These canoes were crafted from large, hollowed-out tree trunks, lashed together with coconut fiber ropes, and sealed with natural resins. The design allowed the Polynesians to carry not only people, but also animals, plants, and other cargo necessary for establishing new settlements. The spread of Polynesian culture across the Pacific, from Hawaii to New Zealand, is a testament to their mastery of long-distance navigation and shipbuilding. Polynesians also made important advances in agriculture, developing techniques to grow crops like taro, sweet potatoes, and breadfruit in diverse and often challenging environments. They created terraced farms on steep slopes, as well as irrigation systems to ensure their crops received enough water. These agricultural practices allowed Polynesian communities to thrive on remote islands with limited natural resources. Lastly, let's journey to ancient Ethiopia, home to the Aksumite Empire, 100 to 940 CE. The Aksumites were an influential power in East Africa and the Red Sea region, known for their trade networks and advanced architecture. One of their most significant but often forgotten innovations was the construction of obelisks or stelae, massive stone pillars that served as monuments and markers for important tombs. The obelisk of Aksum, standing over 24 meters high, is one of the most famous examples of this architectural tradition. These stelae were intricately carved and transported over long distances, reflecting the Aksumites' advanced understanding of stone masonry and engineering. The Aksumite Empire was also a major center of trade, connecting Africa to the Mediterranean, Middle East, and India. The Aksumites minted their own gold and silver coins, which were used in trade and are some of the earliest examples of coinage in sub-Saharan Africa. The ability to produce coins facilitated commerce and helped solidify Aksum's role as a dominant trading empire in the region. The Aksumites also made important contributions to agriculture, particularly in the development of terrace farming in the highlands of Ethiopia. These terraces helped to prevent soil erosion and made it possible to grow crops on steep, mountainous terrain. This agricultural innovation supported the Aksumite population and contributed to the empire's prosperity. As we've explored the forgotten inventions and innovations of ancient civilizations, it's clear that human ingenuity has been a constant force throughout history, shaping the world in countless ways. From the pyramids of Egypt to the water management systems of Angkor, from the navigational prowess of the Polynesians to the scientific breakthroughs of the Abbasid Caliphate, these civilizations created technologies and systems that not only helped their own people thrive, but also influenced the course of global history. Many of these inventions, whether they were practical tools, architectural marvels, or scientific advancements, have been overshadowed by more famous achievements. Yet they remind us of the deep well of creativity and knowledge that ancient societies possessed. While some of these innovations have been lost to time, others continue to inspire modern science, architecture, engineering, and medicine. By rediscovering and appreciating these forgotten inventions, we can better understand the incredible complexity of the ancient world and the shared human desire to solve problems, explore new frontiers, and improve the world around us. Each of these forgotten innovations is a testament to the remarkable minds that created them, and they serve as a reminder of the endless potential of human creativity. Thank you for joining us on this journey through time. If you found these forgotten inventions as fascinating as we did, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to stay updated on more explorations into the marvels of the ancient world. Until next time, keep wondering about the incredible things humans have accomplished, both known and forgotten.